Hello all, Jamie Rodgers here from Craftmania, and today I'm introducing you to our brand new bundle. Now this week we have got a bit of a bumper bundle for you. It is absolutely chock full of goodies and the inspiration is just going to be, I promise you, there is so much in here. You're just going to want it. It's going to fly off the shelves. And I think that we're going to struggle to keep up with demand this week because it is such incredible value for so many components that are so truly inspiring. Before we look at the bundle, please don't forget, if you're watching us on YouTube, to go and click the subscribe button and tap the bell for notifications so you know of all of our videos as we launch them. If you're watching on any of our social media channels or platforms as such, please make sure that you're liking that page so that we know that you're there, and again, you don't miss out on any of our content because there is a lot coming to you this week, especially with this bundle. Now, this bundle, let's talk prices before I show you what's in it. Actually, no. Let's show you what's in it because I don't think you're going to believe the price. Let's show you what's here. So, this is a collection of Sam Pools and Taylor made journals, and it's put together because of, basically, I love these designers and I feel that they work very well together. And there is so much here. You can see little sneakies, can't you? There is so much here that I think you're going to love it, and it's just going to inspire you to get creative, possibly in styles you've not yet done, more vintage, elegant styles that you've possibly not approached before. But it's just beautiful. So let's take you through it quickly. We have got for you our rose die. Now this one is designed by Sam Pools and it will stay in your cardstock. You can see that on the packaging. It has that sort of mat round it. That's because the rose will stay cut into your card. So if you wanted to, you could tile cut this multi times across a panel and have a really filigree fretwork panel. Or of course you can cut it as you can see it here. Or of course you can use the pieces down the side as separate elements to layer on top or layer with it, if you wish to as well. This is also a really good one for paper piecing because it's going to stay in the outside of the card. All of them bits are going to fall away and you can easily pop them back inside if you wish to. Next up in our bundle, we have got for you a Sam Pools stamp. Now, I have a feeling this one is going to be incredibly popular. We did a stamp bundle at the beginning of the year from 2J's Stamp Company, and it had in it a periwinkle stamp, and it sold out. We had all of the stock we could possibly get. We exhausted every possible option to get more stock, but sadly it was a retired design. And we know from our back in stock requests that many of you are still after that stamp. This one to me is the closest one I have found to sort of match in or replace that stamp. Not only do you get this beautiful flower part to it, you've also got this really cool envelope that you could cut open and put things coming out of. There is also little butterflies in here and some sentiments. We'll look through it in more detail shortly, but this one's one to watch. I think that's going to fly off the shelves. We then have our tailor-made label stamps. Now these are really cool. I love these, genuinely. This is so me, the style, the way they are, the ability to use them as a focal point, the ability to multi-stamp them, turn them into backgrounds. They're very vintage, they're very elegant, and they're also really good for like masking off areas and just using the frame parts of them, or adding in die cuts over the top of the bits you don't necessarily need to see or use, and just keeping them really elegant frames. So to me, absolute game changer, beautiful stamp set that I think you're going to fall in love with, especially when you see it used, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? Then from there, so this bundle, it keeps on going. We have got for you 4 stencils. Now I love stencils because there is so much we can do with them. We can bring in our inks, we can use them with our blending brushes, we can go through them with our stencil brushes, with our paints, with our texture paste, with our all of them different mediums. But the bit that is so often forgot, which is something I really champion, is embossing with them. If you've got a rubber mat for your machine, you can place the rubber mat on top of the card, on top of the stencil, and send it through your machine. And when you do that, it will emboss your cardstock. So every one of these is a perfect embossing plate. So we've got here for you the 6x8 one. This is gorgeous, absolute game changing, beautiful design, can be used in either direction. It's just stunning. We've then got for you the 6x6 stencil. Now again, TaylorMade have designed this one. A lady called Lorna, who is an amazing journaler and just all-round brilliant crafter, and of course, brilliant designer. Now to me, this one actually lends itself quite nicely to men's cards. It's got that ironwork style to it. I can see this being done in blacks and silvers and golds, coppers maybe. I think that's a really beautiful one that's going to come in time and time again. I've said all of them colours. When I think of what I've used, I've been doing it with purples and bits. That's actually a sign of a really good stencil, because if your mind sparks one set of colours, but you've actually done something different with it. So it shows it's going to cover across the board. And talking of that, actually, I think that'd be a really nice background for a Christmas card. Moving on, before you all think I'm completely insane. This one is another beautiful tailor-made stencil. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? It's one of them stencils where it's subtle. You know, there's a lot of filled in space, which is really lovely, because it means that they're the areas you're going to be able to place your elements without interfering with the stencil. And I feel this is one that, again, we're going to use time and time again. We can sort of stencil it in areas and move it along if we want to. Again, think of that embossing, beautiful. Then we have for you the Art Deco stencil. Again, tailor-made designs this one. So again, our lovely Lorna has designed this one. Beautiful stencil, and Art Deco is all the rage. We know that Sue Wilson's been doing a lot with Art Deco at the moment, hasn't she? We've had two beautiful collections of Art Deco dies that have come out recently, and this I think would work so nicely with them. To me, if we turn it this way, it looks like buildings, so possibly sitting Sue Wilson's little car in the front of it would work really nicely, or flying the plane across the top of it. Or if we turn it that way, it looks more like elegant sort of drapings, or what do we call them, decorations on buildings, that style of bit. So maybe adding some flowers to it, a sentiment to it, or of course taking it more vertically and then having something trail up it. Either way, it works beautifully. Then to fill out our bundle, now this is amazing. I know a lot of you have got this actually, because of when this launched, this is possibly one of our most popular releases of this year, or items from a release this year, and we've waited quite a while to be able to get hold of the stock to be able to bring you for this bundle. So again, I think you're going to want this if you haven't already got it, and if you have got it, I think you're going to want the bundle still, because you're going to want to have more of these, especially when I show you what you can do with them. We are talking about our Chateau Rose paper pad. Now this paper pad is one of the most beautiful, pretty, delicate paper pads I think I've ever seen in my life. And I'll take you through in more detail so you can see all of the pages in all of their glory. But they're double-sided sheets, so again, if you do double up on the pads, or maybe you want to add more in, because when we start looking through your bundle and the ideas you've got and that are going to start coming through, you might decide that one paper pad is not enough. You can of course add more to your order. And of course, with all of the items, if you don't wish to buy the bundle, you can go online and buy them individually off of our website. So actually, let's tell you about the price for this first, because I don't think that you're going to believe this. So we've got our paper pad, we've got our stencils, to which we had 4 stencils, didn't we? We've got our large A5 stamps, we've got our smaller A6 stamps, and we've got our die set. The recommended retail price for this whole bundle is £67.43. And I actually think that's really good value given the amount that there is here. But here at Craftmania, we have taken 20% off of your bundle. It's a huge amount for you to be saving, and it brings it all the way down to £53.99. Now, in the UK, if you order this, you won't have to pay any P&P. Our P&P is completely free anytime you spend over £5, so there's no fear of P&P costs being added to your order. If you live internationally and you would like it sent to you, that's no problem either. Your P&P is capped at just £10. If you'd like to know more about your P&P charges, whether that's UK or abroad, then pop onto the website and hit the customer service tab, and you will find out all you need to know about how that works. If you're looking for these items, whether that be the bundle or the individuals, then pop onto the website, look for the YouTube tab that you will find on the menu bar, and if you give that a click, it will take you through and you will be able to see a little tab for today's video, and you can click that and it will open up, and your bundle and all of the individual items we are looking at will be in there for you, and you can order them from there. Now, as I mentioned, free P&P anytime you spend over £5, capped P&P if you live internationally. Incredible bundle, huge saving. Let's show you what you can do with it. Let's start off by having a little look through our paper pad, shall we? Now, in here, we have got 24 double-sided pages with 6 unique designs and 4 sheets of each. So 24 sheets of 8x8 paper to play with. That is going to lend itself to so many projects. Now, of course, these are acid free and they're 150 GSM. So let's take a little flick through now. Of course, the cover itself is beautiful enough to use, and there's no reason why we couldn't be snipping into these panels and using them individually. The minute we step into the booklet, we are met by our gorgeous lady, our first gorgeous lady, that you can see just pops and comes to life. Now, to be honest with you, these images are so pretty. I don't feel you need to do much with them, but you could add on some pearls, you could add on some glitter, you could frame this and that would look really pretty, or you can cut it about a little bit, but it is just such a stunning, beautiful picture to start with. On the reverse of that, we have got for you this beautiful sort of crocheted lace with flowers and roses all running through it. That is absolutely stunning. When we turn back to this side, you can see we've got our chandelier and we've got our beautiful flowers on this sort of posy design with some music running through the background. Lovely distressed style edges running through all of that lot. On the reverse of that one, and I know we're upside down from here on in, I'm afraid, but you don't want to keep watching it spin, do you? On this one, we've got these beautiful flowers again, and then we move on to our next lady in our booklet, which again is just a stunning image, as you can see. Just so much character, so much depth, so much beauty coming through as we move through these pages. Then onto the reverse of that one, we've got another one of our beautiful, I'm going to have to turn it around because I don't want you to miss a thing. We've got this beautiful floral set running around the side here of this frame. Just beautiful. Again, great one for adding on your pages or your photos or your journaling too. Or of course, if you wanted to bring in more components, die cuts, bits like that, you've got that landing space there ready to work with. When we turn it around, we have got the Eiffel Tower. Now, how glorious is this as a picture? We've got these beautiful buildings framing around the Eiffel Tower. We've got these gorgeous columns and floral elements running around that as well. It's a stunning picture. It just lends itself to stepping through it. And again, I think if we was to frame that, it would work really nicely. These pages would also, talking of frames, look great in shadow boxes. Then we move through and we've got our next background. So again, another distressed sort of weathered style frame with these beautiful florals running around the side there. I can't get over how Lorna has added so much depth to what is a flat piece of paper. And these are uncoated, so if you wanted to stamp on top of them or add more to them, you absolutely could do. Then we move on to our next lady. Now I'm trying to remember, are we back at the beginning at this point? Oh no, we're not. We've got another lady to introduce you to. And again, beautiful florals running around this one. And when we turn that over, we have got another glorious frame filled full of lace and flowers. Now you can just see how much design work has gone into these, how much effort, how much beautiful layers have been thought about and added into them. We've then got your chateaus sort of through the lovely wrought iron gates, again with flowers running around the sides. Just glorious pages that I think you can agree are going to lend themselves to so many projects. Then our last one before we start repeating the pages, we've got our music, our roses, our little fretwork panels running around it. Now what I love about this is we are receiving multiples of these sheets in your paper pad. So if you're looking at these and thinking, how do I pick what side to work with? You have got multiples, so you can interchange through them. The bit I always love with a paper pad is when you can pick up random pages and see that everything coordinates. You know, we've now got the edges of 5 different sheets, but we can see every single part of that coordinates, and it even coordinates with the page that we can see the back of here and the front of here. The tones, the colour palette, every part of this coordinates all the way through. It is just stunning. Now, as I mentioned, you might want to add some of these on separately as well as the one you're going to receive in your bundle, because I think when you start playing with them, you're just going to get carried away and want even more. Now, when I talk about getting carried away, this is just a really simple card. I've taken an 8x8 card blank and I've scored it at 2 inches, 4 inches and 6 inches. And that basically gives me 2 areas to apply panels. I've then added panels on, so these panels are 4 inches wide by the same 8-inch depth as the card, and I've just added 2 here. So when we lay this down, it all fits flat, but when we open it out, we can see that we have got 2 of our ladies, 2 of our main characters looking towards each other on the first 2 panels, and then our chateau located in the centre panel. Now I could have added in more score lines. I could have brought out score lines from this side as well, so that we had more of a gate style to it. And I could have added pages going out this way too. There could be photos added into this. It could be more of a mini album. But to me, I just wanted to show you how easy and elegant it would be to make a stunning card just by taking the images from the paper pad alone and building them out on your card. All I've added is some ribbon, some gold pearl card and some pearls to finish this one off. Then moving on to our next card from this paper pad, this is taking the image and I've put it inside one of our embossing folders. This is our wood grain embossing folder and I sent it through my machine. And when I did it, it cracked ever so slightly. I think I'd got the wrong mat, to be fair, and the pressure was a little bit higher than I should have had it, so the paper cracked. If that's something you ever struggle with, I could have misted the paper first of all, I could have stuck the paper onto a piece of card so it had more body, or I could have removed some of the pressure in my machine. But waste not, want not, as the expression goes. I wanted to play with this and still use it. Just noticed that my little bow or little pearl has done a runner, so let's stick that back on there. There we go. So I wanted to use it, so what I did is I took my tea dye ink pad, my white Brilliance ink pad, and I lightly rubbed them over the top. So you might see there is some white shading to the top here. It's quite a dry old ink pad that I've had for a while, but it just subtle white added to the top. Tea dye as well to give that wood grain effect. And then with each of the panels, I literally tore it and it went down the split of the panel from where the embossed line was. And then I've inked that and then I've stuck them back together with some foam tape onto a panel, just leaving slight gaps in between each of them to make it look more like printed floorboards. I've added a ribbon around the middle and a few pearls just to finish that off. So again, actually a very simple, very easy, very elegant card created just out of one page of that paper pad. Then we move on to our next one. Now this is what I was on about with our Eiffel Tower. This is perfect for framing. All I've done is taken some stitched square dies from Sue Wilson, created a little shadow in here using some of our dark grey cardstock, and I've foam padded them on top of the page, which I've just layered onto some coconut white card and the matching grey card. I've then taken the envelope stamp, which also comes in this bundle, and I've stamped it in green for the leaves and for tea dye for the envelope, and I've added in a little bit of colour onto the flowers using some colouring pencils, which I'll also add onto the relevant page on the website. Ever so simple to do. Love how this envelope looks as the addition on the side here. Loving how that frames that Eiffel Tower. And you can see 3 very simple cards created from that paper pad without actually having to do too much work. And that's what I really loved about this paper pad, how stunningly beautiful they can be without having to do too much with them. But if you want to, of course, you can take them much further and add more onto them. So let's move on to our next item. So we just had a little look at that stamped envelope on the card we was looking at. So I'll bring that stamp set in for you again. So you've got that lovely envelope. We've got some little writing running across here. We've got Secret Garden, Storyteller, Letter Parvon, and Art Post as separate stamps. We also have our butterfly and we've got that beautiful flower. Now again, this flower is stunning. I think that is going to come in so handy. When we actually look at it, it's quite detailed, it's quite a nice size, and it's quite neatly kept together. So again, stamping it in multiple places to make backgrounds is really easy to do, which is exactly what I've done here, running across the strip of this card. I've used this flower stamp to make up that background. I've used the envelope stamp as my statement on the front here, and I've used that stencil, which comes in your bundle, towards the back of this, working with some of our lovely antique sand paste, which we'll be taking a little look at shortly. I think this is a real lovely stamp set to have, and one again I think I'm going to be reaching for time after time. Moving on, let's have a little look at our label stamps. So these are our Victorian label stamps. These are absolutely gorgeous. We've got a separate little bowler hat in here. We've got our Kane Brothers headquarters for hats and caps, boots, shoes, Main Street, Wayside, Wisconsin. We've got our manufacturer I can't speak French. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce some of these, but they're beautiful French labels. I love this little lady here with her umbrella or her parasol. She of course matches in perfectly with the papers throughout the paper pad. But these are sizable stamps. They're focal points, but they're also really fun to use to make up backgrounds, which is what I've done with these quite a lot as well. So let's show you what I've been up to with them. When we bring in this first card, you might not see this, but I've taken the vellum. Hopefully you can see it actually. Let's see, hopefully you can see that. I've taken a piece of vellum and I've stamped all over it with our Crane Brothers stamp. And I did that in Wedgwood blue. I don't think that's the right name, but I forgot it. But it's the Wedgwood of the Distress Oxide inks. And I've stamped all over the vellum, and then I've torn it and created it as a pocket by just gluing it behind my stenciled panel. Then in here, I've made these tags on the Sizzix scoreboard. That incredible scoreboard has got a little corner notch and hole punch for you to make tags of any sizes. So I've made one tag using the stamps, the flower stamps off of the last set of stamps. And then as we look through these, we've got a few of the stamps off of this set of stamps as well. So it all ties together. Now again, if you're into your journaling, if you're into your scrapbooking, you could add photos onto them, you could add your journaling onto them. This could be a lovely little pocket to put photos and memorabilia in as well. Or as a card front, which is what I've aimed for here, I just think is a really nice fun card that you could be a bit tactile with. If you wanted to, you could add some more flowers on here, maybe a happy birthday sentiment. But it's just a nice, fun, interactive card to play with. I also want to highlight the background because this is beautiful. Now, we will be looking at this stencil shortly, and I will be showing you this texture paste to create that background. But this is one of the cards I made with it. Once I'd done this, I simply didn't want to cover up too much of it, and that's where this vellum pocket and little tag idea come about from. But I do think it works really nicely with this stamp set. Now, another idea for these stamps is again to make them the focal point of your card. So this time I've stamped on vellum in black and I've heat embossed in clear to have my main focal frame on here. In the reverse of this, I've used the same stamp that we've been talking about again off of this stamp set to stamp all over my coconut white panel in black ink, and then the vellum just sits lightly on top. I've only glued it underneath the pearls and a little bit around the frame so that it sort of comes up and goes down in different areas, so you see them flowers more intently and less so in different areas through the vellum, which I thought looked quite elegant. But that's showing you just a couple of the ideas for these labels. We'll show you more shortly. Then moving on, what have we got here? Let's show, oh, there's more here actually to show you with that label. I think these were set aside for a stencil, but I'll show you with them for the label stamps. So we've got our hats and caps and boots and shoes stamp again. And again, in the background, you can see that stencil embossed just using my rubber mat through my machine. I think this could be quite a nice manly card, but actually if we change that out for some Christmas elements, maybe a poinsettia and some foliage, this could make a really lovely background for Christmas, just embossed on some pearl gold card. Another one actually, and this is a mix, and this is what I love about this collection. It shows you how you can bring it all together. We've got more of that vellum that I've stamped in the background. We've got the papers from the paper pads, and I've just torn up some excess pieces to create these wrap rounds and little tags and bits. I've used my stamps again to stamp my little panel to go on the front here, and I've brought in the Sizzix butterfly from a couple of weeks ago to add onto the corner there as well. I know that we've still got few of these in stock, but if you haven't seen the Sizzix bundle yet, do check that one out as well, because I've been flying off the shelves quite literally. But it's a lovely little moffy style butterfly to add onto this card. Then let's move on and show you, let's show you the die first, and then we'll do all of the stencils together. So our die, as I mentioned, this is one die that's going to stay in your cardstock. So Sam has really cleverly designed this so that it will stay in the card and all of these pieces will fall away, leaving that beautiful fretwork rose. You've then got two separate dies, or three separate dies I should say, and these will cut out and stay out of your card as a traditional die would do. You could use these to layer in with this design if you would like to, but to me, this set is all about that rose. I absolutely love this, and I'll show you why. This is one card, so again, I've cut it in and I've turned it into a little tag on my Sizzix board, and I've just placed it on the side here. I've put some lilac card underneath it. I've gone for some of, I believe it's the Opera Mauve when we get onto the texture paste shortly, through the stencil in the background. A simple just for you on a little tab underneath, but doesn't that rose just bring it all together? That rose is so elegant and so pretty. And when I'm talking about tile cutting, this is what I mean. So on last week's video, we introduced you to some pearl card and you all went bonkers for it. And I don't think we've got hardly any of it left now, to be honest, but we will reorder it. So if you haven't already, do go onto the product and then it will give you a back in stock request option. Type in your email and you'll be notified the minute more stock is added. A lovely purple pearl card and a gold purple card. Gold purple card, that don't make any sense. Let's try that again. Gold pearl card and purple pearl card are the perfect additions to go underneath our fretwork panel. And all I did was literally take the die and multi-cut it in all different angles to make up my fretwork panel, and then just trimmed it down to the size I wanted it to be for the card. Added in a few little crystals just as added decorations to finish that off. But this die to me is a stunning one, and as you can see, it works beautifully with the roses that you're going to find throughout this collection. Now then, let's talk about our lovely stencils. We have got 4 stencils for you. This is our first one. This is our Fleur de Lis Elegance. Now, I absolutely love this because it is so ornate, it is so beautiful, and it makes making cards so easy. This is just using our lovely blue texture paste on black card, and I have just simply put that through onto the card, let it dry, added another wrap round with that same vellum with them labels stamped on them, brought in a flower and the leaves from last week's bundle just to add on that decoration, just to show you how simple that could be. For another stencil idea, I've taken it and embossed it into silver mirror card. So again, using my rubber mat, sent it through my machine just to emboss the panel. Please excuse all the lights and the reflections of me and the camera, but hopefully you can see all of that beautiful embossed work. And I've just added on some silver crystals or little gems where needed. I've made my little rosette here out of a piece of black card. I've put one of our sun pearls on, then a row of our silver gems, and then a row of our mixed pearls to make up my little brooch style element. And of course, this is using our ribbon. If you haven't found our ribbon online yet, do go look at our ribbon. We do the most incredible reels of ribbon at the most fantastic prices. And I'm probably going to get this wrong because I haven't looked it up, so please don't kill me if I am wrong. But I think this one is £1.99 for 20 meters. And it's a beautiful satin with a stitch that runs down the side. If it isn't that price, it's not a million miles off of them. They're all really, really value ribbons, and they come on rolls of like 20, 25 and 50 meters depending, and they're just great value. I love using them for my cards. And I've then used a fabulous friend sentiment from the Art Deco collection from Sue Wilson just to finish that off. Now, while we've got this stencil out, let's look at it and actually play with it for a second, because I was so impressed with how this looked. And I know I'm easily impressed, but I thought you might like to see how this one comes together so easily. So let's take our stencil. I'm going to work on a piece of coconut white card at this point, and we're going to bring in our first palette knife, and we're going to bring this in. Now, this is our delicate blue of the antique sand paste. Now, if you haven't seen Sam Pools antique sand paste already, this is one I would really urge you to give a go to, because it is the most beautiful matte colour. So when we bring this out, you can see there's no, and I say this is quite silly because it's just not just a, but it's a sand texture base. So it's got sand in it, it's got grit to it, it's got texture, it's got depth. But what I really like is there's no sparkle, there's no shimmer, there's no pearl. It's just a flat texture paste, which is really beautiful and looks so elegant. Now, I think I've just caught a little bit of my stencil here, but I'm not worried. We're going to go through, and we're going to add this down. Now, this stencil, again, I'm going to try and do all of it because I just think it looks so impactful. But actually, you wouldn't have to. You could so easily just do different stages of it, different patches, because it's one of them that looks a little bit like old wallpaper. So if you wanted to go for more of a distressed style, you could. If you wanted to bring in your brighter colour inks, you absolutely can do. This antique sand paste also comes in a whole host of colours too. So let's run through them while I'm doing this. There is creamy mango, soft damson, raven purple, the delicate blue that we are currently using. There is opera mauve, moss blanket. Oh, moss blanket's gorgeous. I'll share that with you shortly, actually. There must be a card. Oh, I can see it. There's a card I haven't yet shared with you that has got that moss blanket on it, and it is beautiful. Then there is Shabby Truffle and Fading Rose. The Fading Rose is also beautiful. They're all lovely, to be fair, but that one is actually really, really lovely. Now, these can be purchased individually, and I will put them all onto the same page with the bundle on the website. But there is a bundle pack available for the antique sand paste too. All of that lot, what is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 colours. That should be £42 to buy them all individually. But the bundle price is £33.59. Now, I've only got a few of the colours here, but when you bring these in, you can just see how stunning they are. I'm going to try and hold on to as many as I can to share with you. That one is gorgeous. This one, I love this. I love greens. This is the moss blanket. Very, very elegant. We'll come to that shortly. This one here is the opera mauve. That's gorgeous. That's the mango. We, of course, have just been using the blue. And I've got a fifth one here. What's this one? This one's the raven purple. But they're all gorgeous. Honestly, I don't know how you'll pick between them. But that's the joy of the bundle. You might wish to just go for the bundle pack at $33.59. Now, of course, pop your stencil into some water. I've got a little tray off to one side I'm going to place mine in, but do pop that into water when you can do. But look at how prominent that is, how elegant and how crisp as a stencil. And this one's quite a quick drying paste as well. So it never takes too long to set. And if you want to speed it up with a heat gun, you can do. So don't hesitate to do that. I'm going to leave that to one side to dry because I'm going to use that later. That is so pretty. I love this stencil and I love that colour. You know I like my whites and blues together. You've probably seen a lot of that on my Facebook page and on the videos. But actually, the same colour used on the black looks really good too. But when we did show you that, can I delve in? Can I find it? Where have I hid it? We had that, didn't we? And I said to you, remember that panel. Here we go. Same panel that we just created on the white as the black. It's just gorgeous. And that would actually be quite nice, wouldn't it? If you was to use the same colour through the same stencil on the black and on the white and then do panels throughout your project. That could look really lovely because I really like how that blue looks on both colours. So there's certainly room for playing between the two shades there. Then moving on, let's show you our next stencil. So this one's the garden trellis. So gorgeous stencil. Love this one too. I know I keep saying that, don't I? I love this, I love this. This bundle really is my favourite. I think there is some beautiful elements in here. And when we bring them together like this card, how simple is that? How elegant that we've got that beautiful rose. We've then got the same texture paste used for our mats and our layers and even behind here. And I'll show you this actually, because this is quite a nice one to show. This is, let me find a piece of card again. Let's get out a sheet and we'll go back into, let's pick a different colour so you see a different one. Let's use this one. I don't know if any of you are watching. I think it's called Design Masters on BBC Two. It's Alan Carr and he's doing an interior design show. And there's a guy on there that is playing around creating like cement looks on walls. And I really liked the idea and I thought, well, I wanted to play around with some texture paste to create the same idea. So what he's doing is he's basically laying it down like I am here with my texture paste, but he does a whole wall and then just goes in and picks up the texture. So, and when it dries, it looks a bit like concrete, which is exactly what I've done on the background behind that rose. But equally, if you prefer, and you can see the coverage is actually really lovely with this, equally if you prefer, and here I go get myself messy, on the edges of card, so if I wanted to edge just a layer of card to go underneath, I found I can just pick it out either with my finger or a paintbrush, and I can take that down to make my mats and layers coordinate perfectly with the layers that are going on top of it. So everything coordinates together. So when you see the card that we're looking at here, let's get rid of that panel for a second. When we look at this card, here I go now, putting purple fingerprints on everything. You can see that texture done in the background underneath the rose, hopefully, coming through. And that same colour we've just round the edges used on the layer underneath. So if, and I don't know if I can oh, here we go. If I pull that back a bit, you can see I've literally added like a 1/2 inch matte edge to that mat, just so that the same shade of blue matches through. I've also die cut it somewhere as well. So once I've put it down, I've die cut through it so that my die cut matches. And I thought that worked quite nicely too. Now then, let's see if we can use that stencil. Let's bring that one in as well, just because I think these are lovely to see actually in action. And let's go for this one. Let's play with this gorgeous green. So this one hasn't got as much open work to it, which again, I really like because it gives me all them placement areas to add on my flowers, add on my embellishments, add on my sentiments, all them bits that we need areas to put. Sometimes if the stencil's too heavy, it can be hard to know where to put them extra pieces. So of course, I'm being a little bit messy here and we could certainly save a few pennies and take off the excess. And I'll bring this one down here. Again, this is one you could just use in small amounts if you didn't want to do the whole thing. You really wouldn't have to, but we'll take that one away. This colour, by the way, is the moss blanket. We'll remove that. Oh, Doesn't that look regal? Isn't that a really lovely colour? Very Downton Abbey-esque. Reminds me a bit of Harrods, not quite the same green, but that kind of colour, that kind of pattern. Very, very beautiful. And then let's move on. Let's show you the next stencil. So we'll show you the Art Deco one. So this one is our DL stencil. So quite a nice size to this one. Again, I feel we can use it in any direction we wish to. It really does lend itself to multiple directions. When we bring it in and we look at it here, this is the blue. And I've added on the flower from last week, which is John Next Door's Carnation, and the shadow leaves. We've still got them in the bundle. So if you haven't seen that video yet, do go have a little look at that. And a Just For You running across the bottom. And of course, these are coming down the card in this format. When I bring this card in, using that lovely green, which was a moss blanket, we're going up the card instead. And I've just added in a little sister sentiment on an Art Deco panel and lots of pearls to decorate that one. And I think them to actually show how nicely, and that's a nice idea actually, putting two together, back to back, ribbon through the middle, making that your page or your panel or your decoration, but actually sharing with you how nicely they work going up the card or down the card, or equally as a vertical instead. I think it just worked in all directions. Now with this stencil, should we play with a different colour? What have we not yet played with? Let's go for this one. This one is the Opera Mauve. Let's have a little look for how this one looks. This is just me cheating really. If I do these now, not only do you get to see how lovely these stencils are, how beautiful these colours are, I also get panels that I can come back to and use later on. Now, this is actually worth mentioning why I'm doing this. If you don't already follow me on Facebook, it's Jamie Rodgers Crafts, and you will find me on there, and I post 3 cards a day, one at 8 AM, one at 2 PM, and one at 8 PM. That's my target. Don't always stick to it, but I try to. Now, all the cards you've seen in today's video will go up throughout the week, and you'll be able to save them if you'd like to. And you will also see 2 PM every day die of the week post. And then there's also several posts of me just playing around with different products, different ideas that you won't have seen on videos that can also hopefully give you a bit of inspiration. And when we remove this one, oh, I like this colour. That's lovely, isn't it? That sort of dusky pink shade. That's beautiful. Now I can see here, I've got a little bit gone through here. And I always try to do this. I always do it at least at one point on a stencil or on a video. If you ever have a bit and you're not happy with it, I would normally put a flower or a sentiment over that. But never be afraid to take it and put it back in your jar. There's nothing wrong with taking that back. You've paid for that. Use that again. And you can do this with quite a bit of your stencil. Or, if you prefer, spread it out and turn that into your panel like your concrete, and then die cut your sentiment out of it and use it again. Nothing's ever wasted. Everything's got a use. So even if it doesn't go quite to plan, just reevaluate your plan and slightly change it. We can use it in a different format. Then on to our last stencil. So this is our fleur-de-lis trellis. Now, I think that is gorgeous. I could use this all year round. When we looked at it in gold, I mentioned using it for Christmas. I think this is going to work through lots of different colours. This is my card I wanted to share with you. This one, of course, is using that lovely raven purple, I believe it was called, wasn't it? Yeah, raven purple from the antique sand paste. I've again put that down the panel in the background. So just like that bit we just did, we could have used that underneath the rose here instead if we wanted to, so nothing's wasted. And again, around the edge, I've just used my finger to apply a little bit around that mat so that everything ties in. So really easy to do, very elegant, good fun, add in some pearls if you want to, but simple and quick to use. Now for this one, what colour haven't we yet played with? I don't think we've played with that lovely mango, have we? So let's bring this stencil in and we'll bring in the mango. Now, have we got a clean applicator? I think we have. We'll use this little plastic one this time instead. We'll go through on this. Now, this mango is this gorgeous, like sandy colour, which again makes me think of holidays. It makes me think of the beach. It's just lovely. Now, if you wanted to do patches, you could do that as well. So maybe you want to mix your colours, or if you wanted to, you could add more to them. Now, I'm sure many of you remember the recipes of inspiration series that we did at the beginning of the year on our YouTube channel, where we were showing you how you could take texture pastes and add pixie powders, pixie sparkles, inks to them, different glitters and bits like that. this texture paste could be a really good body to do that with as well, because it's got a different style to it, it's got a different consistency, and it's got a different texture. So actually bringing this into our recipes could be quite good fun. Something I haven't done yet actually is use this as a base to add more to, but I might give that a go throughout the week. So again, keep an eye on my Facebook page. I'll see how my experiments go. But it's just a beautiful colour to be working with. And as you can see, beautiful stencil to put it through on. So let's take that one away. Oh, doesn't that look luxurious? That really is very, very luxury. That coconut white mixed in with that creamy mango. Gorgeous. So if you like the texture paste, as I mentioned, I haven't got all of the colours here at the moment. These are just a few of the ones I've got to hand, but there is actually 8 available in your bundle. Your bundle should be £42, but it is only £33 and 59p if you like the look of the texture pastes. Now going back to, of course, your proper bundle, your big bundle we're looking at, that shows you all of the different components, your fleur-de-lis trellis, your Art Deco stencil, your garden trellis, your fleur-de-lis elegant stencil, the rose that comes with this as well. Then we've got your Victorian stamps, we've got that beautiful stamp set with the flower and the envelope, and your Chateau Rose paper pad. And that bundle should be £67.43 and is offered for just £53.99. Now, if you have any questions, do pop them in the comments and I'll do my very best to answer them for you. But if you would like to check out on this, if you'd like to go online and order it, pop onto www.craftmaniacrafts.com, head to the YouTube banner on the website and give that a click and it'll take you through and you'll find the page for today's bundle and you can order it. Don't forget free P&P in the UK because it's over £5. And if you'd like to order it internationally, your P&P will be capped at just £10. Thank you very much for watching and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Bye for now.